Alright guys, let's try to combo off with this little kitty cat. I guess you already know what it does. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may flicker a non-land permanent you control. So obviously it will be pretty interesting with an Eternal Witness. So for example, you have Eternal Witness, you have Lion's Eye Diamond, and you have something in your graveyard that costs, let's go, 0, 1 or 2. Now it does not work with a Lotus Petal, or well, it will work if you have 2 Lotus Petals, which you aren't allowed to have inside cEDH, by the way. But how it works is that when you cast your Lotus Petal, it will be on the stack, it will be outside of the battlefield, it will be outside of your graveyard as well. Then you get a Displacer Kitten trigger to flicker the Eternal Witness, and now the Eternal Witness is gonna target something, but it can't target the Lotus Petal because it's existing somewhere outside of the game, so to say. The Lion's Eye Diamond is also a little bit tricky because you're forced to discard whatever you have in your hand when you crack Lion's Eye Diamond. Remember, you're not allowed to use the mana you gain from this artifact by casting the spells from your hand, unless those spells have madness, of course. What I would like to recommend is something like this Lotus Petal and a 0-cost artifact that you could easily sacrifice. Also, Urza's Bubble will generate card draw. Well, generate card draw in the next turn, but it's a card that you could auto-include inside most decks, and it will help you out with this form of combo. The problem now is that it becomes a very complicated 4-card combo, well, actually, more like a 3.5 card combo, because there will be multiple versions of the Urza's Bubble and the 0-cost artifacts that you could use to make this combo work. But it's still a very derpy, clunky combo. However, all of these cards are pretty good on their own, so it's something you could include just because the cards will be good, and if you draw into it, then well, go for it. But let's upgrade that exact same strategy with Muldrotha as the commander. So Muldrotha is allowed to cast artifacts from the graveyard, but only once each turn. However, if you flicker Muldrotha, Magic the Gathering will see that as a new creature. It's a new Muldrotha, so you're allowed to cast the thing again, which means you cast Lotus Petal, you flicker Muldrotha, you sacrifice Lotus Petal, and then you may recast Lotus Petal infinitely for infinite mana. Next combo up we have Dockside. Now Dockside doesn't combo up with the Displacer Kitten on its own, it's just an amazing synergy, because whenever you cast a spell you will basically flicker your Dockside and generate a lot of treasures, so you can basically cast your entire hand, more or less. Well, of course, it's a little bit up to your opponents, as sometimes the Dockside doesn't generate enough treasures, but it's a cEDH, it's usually gonna generate something between 4 to 7. This is where Thrasius comes into the picture. With the Dockside treasures, you activate Thrasius and you dig into your deck until you find something in really low CMC value, you cast that, you flicker Dockside, you get more treasures, activate Thrasius, continue to dig, and just cast through your entire deck. This could fizzle, it's pretty much a form of storm combo thing. Very similar how Thrasius and Paradox Engine worked back in the days, a deck called PST, Paradox Scepter Thrasius. Now of course you don't need to storm off with Thrasius, you can play something like Peregrine Drake, Dockside, or a lot of variations of ETB creatures that generates a lot of mana, and then just a form of buyback spell. Another really straightforward combo is with Kitten and Teferi Time Reveler, and just a Mox Opal, Mox Amber. There's a variations of different rocks that would work here. Chrome Mox and Mox Diamond won't work, by the way. But Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, Grim Monolith will also work here. What you do is that you use Teferi to return that Ritual Rock back to your hand, recast that Ritual Rock, and then flicker Teferi. Now, similar to Muldrotha, this will be a new Planeswalker. It can use its loyalty ability once more to return this artifact again to your hand to recast it, drawing cards in the process, gaining infinite mana, so infinite mana, infinite card draw equals win. Now so far we've been looking at combos with multiple cards completing a combo with the Kitten, but let's look at a 1-card combo with this thing. Let's begin from a different angle. Let's say we don't have the Kitten in our hand, but we do have one of the 2 recruiters in our hand, either Imperial Recruiter or Recruiter of the Guard, depending on our color identities, of course. Now when you cast one of these, you're allowed to tutor and find the Kitten. Both are allowed to find the Kitten. So once you have your Imperial Recruiter and your Kitten in play, you just need to cast a spell. It doesn't matter which spell, just cast any spell. And you will flicker Recruiter of the Guard or the Imperial Recruiter here. Now from here you could do a little bit whatever you want. You could find Dockside Extortionist or any other cool creatures that you could need for the specific situation. But you are allowed to find Trinket Mage. When you cast Trinket Mage, two things will happen. First, the Displacer kitten will trigger and flicker the Imperial Recruiter so you can find another creature of your liking, Dockside or Spellseeker. We'll get to that soon. But when Trinket Mage ETBs, you're allowed to search out whatever artifact you want. Now you're allowed to search out for 0 costing artifacts, which means you can find Mox Opal, Mana Crypt, Soldering, etc. All those ritual rocks and basically cast all of them, building a huge amount of mana. Because whenever you're finding one of those rocks, casting that rock, you get to flicker the Trinket Mage again. Remember that Imperial Recruiter we flickered when we casted the Trinket Mage? Well, that could search out Spellseeker. And when we cast our last rock that we find with Trinket Mage, we could tutor out another creature. This means that in total we're gonna find 1 instant or sorcery, like the Molar Consultation with the Spellseeker, 2 creatures that will be Spellseeker and Thassa's Oracle, for example. And with all the rocks that we've been casting, and as well when you cast your Spellseeker, when you cast your Thassas, when you cast your Consult, you get to flicker those rocks. So you should have the mana to cast these 2 things. So far, everything inside this little combo have been grixis. But let's do a different color combination. Let's do Yes Guy. With this, we would have both Imperial Recruiter and Recruiter of the Guard. Basically the same start. You use one of these 2 recruiters to find a kitten, you cast a spell to flicker one of those recruiters and find Trinket Mage, and then you sit and cast artifacts until you've built a huge amount of mana. Once again, we could find Spellseeker, but remember we had one more creature find with the Recruiter of the Guard or the Imperial Recruiter, and we're gonna find an instant or sorcery. We're gonna find Dockside Extortionist with the Imperial Recruiter after you've casted Spellseeker. Spellseeker finds Snap, cast Dockside, gain a lot of mana, cast Snap, return Dockside, recast Dockside, and untap 2 lands by the way, making a lot of mana here. When you cast Dockside that you find with Imperial Recruiter, you get to flicker Imperial Recruiter to find yet another creature again. Here you can find Lord Grixis. Now, Recruiter of the Guard aren't actually allowed to find this, so you have to use Imperial Recruiter. You have to first find Imperial Recruiter with the Recruiter of the Guard and then find Lord Grixis afterwards. However, with all the mana that you're building with Snap and Dockside, shouldn't be a big problem. So the end state we've built here is that we have Snap in our graveyard, Dockside in play, Lord Grixis in our hand. We mutate Lord Grixis into Dockside. You get a mutate trigger to return an instant or sorcery from your graveyard back to your hand. Is that how it reads? Yes, that's how it reads. You return Snap back to your hand. You recast Snap, untapping 2 lands. Now here's the thing, Lord Grixis and Dockside are one and the same creature, so when you bounce the combination of both, you get both back to your hand. So now cast Dockside, gain treasure, cast Snap, return Dockside, cast Dockside, Snap is in your graveyard, cast Mutate, Lord Grixis, and rinse and repeat infinite mana. But also, when you cast all of these things, the Spellseeker is gonna sit there and flicker, so you can tutor out whatever you want here. Well, multiple things, so to say, like a demonic tutor, and then just continue. By the way, everything we've done so far in this version can be done in only red and blue, except for the Recruiter of the Guard. You have to cut away that one, but Imperial Recruiter will do the job. In short, it's very simple. You cast one of your creature tutors that tutor for something, you cast that something, you flicker that creature tutor, and you get to tutor once again. I mean, Trinket Mage, that's beautiful. So by now, this kitten looks amazing. Auto include must have mega great plan A combo, right? Actually, no. I think all of these combos have been looked at except for Muldrotha. I actually think that the Muldrotha combo here with Lion's Eye Diamond is pretty awesome. Lion's Eye Diamond is already auto include inside Muldrotha, and the kitten will probably be great in there. But let's evaluate these combos. Now they work, but they have problems. So first things first, yes, this is a 1-card combo. You only need Imperial Recruiter and you win here. Or well, you need to like cast something from your hand as well. So it's like 1-card combo that requires mana and cast a spell. However, it's very, very expensive. Now, you could do it throughout several turns. That's gonna be telegraphed, and you don't really want to put your combo pieces into play and pass turn. That isn't optimal, but you could do it all in one turn. It's just honestly too expensive. Now, I did put up Dockside here because you could decrease the amount of mana, making it a little bit easier. So first cast that Imperial Recruiter, find the kitten, that's 7 mana, and then cast something from your hand that's something between 0 to 3 mana, depending on what that is. Then find Dockside with a flicker of that recruiter. So 7 plus Dockside is 9 plus that thing from your hand. That's just too much. When it comes to Eternal Witness version, my personal opinion is that I don't think Eternal Witness is a great cEDH card in general. It's absolutely something you can play, but I would definitely not say auto-include on it. Also, assembling this combo could be a little bit complicated, so are you including Eternal Witness just because you could accidentally assemble this? Maybe, maybe not. I don't see a problem with it, but I also don't see a reason you should include Eternal Witness just because you could here. Then we have the Teferi version, and here I'm just gonna say I don't think you should go for this combo, because Teferi is a very risky card inside the 99. It's not a Grand Abolisher. If you're passing turn with a Teferi in play, you're passing turn with a Grand Abolisher for that opponent. Now, of course, you could have enough counterspells in your hand to basically control all of your free opponents, but if you don't, then you're giving Grand Abolishers to all of your free opponents. So you could include this combo, but there will be situations where Teferi will be a dead card you absolutely can't cast that's just sitting in your hand if you don't draw into this. But there is a commander that could absolutely play this combo, and that is cEDH Red Light Captain, that can search out and find Teferi Time Reveler, also find Mox Opal in the last opponent's end step, where no one is able to interact. So you're never really putting Teferi into play, you're searching it out when you need it. Just don't hope you draw into it. Well, if you draw into it, just hope you draw into the kitten as well. Well, the only thing you can't tutor for here is the kitten. So how should we view the kitten? How should we think when we're trying to include the kitten inside our deck? Simple. It's a multi-purpose function card that can do a lot of cool stuff, but it's not a plan A combo. Now, it could be, but I wouldn't recommend you doing that. Close to all the cards we've been looking at inside this entire video are very good cards in general. Cards you could play inside cEDH, a little bit give and take here and there. Eternal Witness, yes and no. But there's nothing wrong with having plan B, plan C, plan D combos inside the deck if all the cards that you're including for that combo are naturally good for the deck anyways. In the end, you could include all of these 4 cards just because the sake of it. Like Eternal Witness, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad either. But looking at these cards as the plan A, that's bad. But why bother including the kitten to begin with if it's not gonna be the plan A combo? Well, that is honestly a good question. First of all, I don't think this is auto-included just because you're on the call identity of blue, but it is interesting. For example, it has a very nice synergy with Urza. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you will flicker Urza and create a new construct. That could build an army, but it's also gaining mana in the process. For example, when we talk about mana and storm capabilities, the Displacer kitten is very similar to Birgi, God of Storytelling. Whenever you cast a spell, you generate a red mana. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you will flicker one of your mana rocks, which means the kitten and the Birgi could both go into the same kind of deck where you wanna storm off and just cast spells. So in the end, the kitten has some really nice things going for it. You just have to be very creative and know what you're doing when you're building your deck. Personally, I love it. I love when cards have multi-purpose functions, when they can be a good card for the deck's strategy, not the combo, but the general strategy of the deck, but also function as something else like a combo for the deck as well. Now, of course, there's a lot more tricks that you could do with the kitten. I would love to read your comments below what you've thought of. And I also think that this card will grow stronger in the future as more cards will be printed that could definitely synergize with this. I think we're gonna see more creature ETB effects that could be great with this thing. In any case, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video and that you found it inspiring. Take care, guys! See you next time.